Chris, I want to go back to the beginning for you because you are an in-state guy. You come from Chester, South Carolina, and you got to South Carolina in 2002. And I thought it was really interesting, by the way, just a quick note. I was looking at your recruitment. You were one of the top. You're the number 2 in-state lineman behind your future teammate Jabari Levy. So I'm sure that was like very interesting, a little kind of rivalry between you two guys, I guess you could say. But you go to Carolina together. But again, you're an in-state guy from Chester. Talk about the recruiting process for you. Again, you're obviously a highly regarded prospect. What was the recruiting process like? And again, when you came to South Carolina, it was Lou Holtz and Skip Holtz and that crew. What was that process like, and why did you choose to become a Gamecock?
The process for me, it was pretty cool. Like I said, I came out of school in 2002. Pretty highly recruited, but I made it known earlier in my recruitment that I was going to stay in state. So I think a lot of schools started backing off, once I made that comment. But I knew I wanted to stay close to my family. I grew up kind of a Clemson fan, don't hate me for that, but it was either between Carolina and Clemson. And, once we went to the Shrine Bowl and met a lot of the guys who were coming out that year, I came out, became really good friends with a lot of those guys. And, I always decided, we can try to go to Carolina, and do well there. So that's pretty much why I chose Carolina. I felt like it was a good fit for me. My dad went to South Carolina. And when I went to, on my visits, I just felt at home. And when Coach Holtz visited me in my in-home recruiting visit, it just felt like the place to be. And so, I made that vow that that's where I wanted to go.
For sure. And I think of South Carolina under Lou Holtz when you got there, as far as you talk about like the style and the fit and everything, a team that loved to run the football. You guys obviously had very physical running backs, and the running game was very much a big part of that. I want to move into, again, that first year for you. And it's interesting. You said you grew up a Clemson fan, or were kind of a Clemson fan, if you will. I know you picked South Carolina over Clemson, Maryland, North Carolina, some others. But I want to start again from the beginning of your college career, because apparently it looked like your career was going to be over before it even got started because of a neck condition. Talk about that. I mean, again, overcoming that adversity. You're a star player in high school, and you go through the recruiting process. And again, it sounds like that maybe your career didn't exactly get off to quite the start that you were expecting.
Yeah, man, it was rough. When I first got there, I had high hopes. I had already knew I was going to redshirt. Got into 2-a-day practice and injured my neck. They had to, call the ambulance in, and they flew me out to Boston to get some tests done within a week. Just got a bunch of different notes from different doctors. Some doctors say you should never play again. Another doctor said, you risk being paralyzed if you play one more snap. And so Coach Holtz decided to send me to a bunch of different specialists. So they finally sent me up to Dr. Days up in Boston. And he said, Chris, you know what? I think you're fine. He said, if I were you, I would play. And so I came back and I processed everything, talked it over with my family, talked it over with the coaching staff, my preacher, we prayed about it. And I just felt like it was the right thing to do for me to come back and, give it a shot. Coach Holtz, me and him met in the elevator. I was going to talk to him one day. And he said, Chris, I know what's going on. He said, but I promise you, he said, if you decide not to play one more down in Carolina, you always have a home here. Your scholarship is good until you graduate. And just that, it made me feel like, this is the right thing to do.